What's up, y'all? It's me, Erica. It's Friday. Friday. Are you going inside? Okay. Because it's too cold to be standing out here. You guys, it's too cold. Don't you think it's too cold? She's gonna open the door for you guys? Okay. What's up, y'all? It's Friday. What are we talking about today, honey? I don't have anything to talk about today. We're just on our way. I have to make sure I need to get some gas. That's what I need to do. It's cold. It really is cold today. The time is about to change. The time changes on Sunday, so don't forget, okay? And what was I watching? I didn't watch anything. I was watching people's YouTube videos. So most of the stuff that they was talking about, I've already talked about. The only thing I haven't talked about, what I saw on Rodney's channel, what he was talking about yesterday, was something going on with, where's my phone? Something going on with Eva changing the baby's last name from McCall to her last name or something. I don't know what the story is about. So I don't really know. I was just like, what's going on? Oh, she's changing daughter's last name. Eva Marcille changes her daughter's last name from her daughter's last name to her husband's last name. Well, is he adopting her? Because isn't that, he would have to, I mean, she could legally change the last name without the adoption taking place. Because I'm sure Kevin McCall is not going to. Kevin McCall is loony. He probably is a Gemini. How much you want to make how Kevin McCall is a Gemini? He has something's wrong with him. Hold on. Kevin McCall. Hold on. What do y'all think about that? If he bitch, I didn't say Kevin McAllister. Kevin McCall. Here we go. When is Kevin McCall's birthday? What do you think about that? Changing the last name from the father's biological last name, who is not involved in the child's life. She says he's been a deadbeat from the beginning. First of all, that's my thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna tell y'all a story, but we need to get. I'm gonna tell you about sometimes I mention it on here. I'm not sure, but I had an issue with a last name situation with my son's father. Oh no, he's a damn Cancer Leo. No, is he a Cancer Leo? Ugh. Let's see. What's his birthday? What's that? Yeah, that's a Leo, July 25th. Ugh. Yeah, he's on the cusp, but still, he give me crazy Gemini T. Sorry, he might have a Gemini rising, but he's I'm gonna tell you guys this story about a last name thing. I had a last name, a thing with a last name with my sons, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll tell you the story. These niggas, first of all, you know, if I was in my right mind at the time, because I feel like I was in a cloud during this time when I first moved to Atlanta, I was in a cloud for probably 3 or 4 years. Just really when people be like, come back to Atlanta, I'll be like, Atlanta has so much. I associate Atlanta with, it was just a horrible experience, and it changed my life. It changed the direction that I thought that I was going in. So what are y'all doing? Oh my God, what are y'all doing, girl? Let's see, what are you doing? I need to get gas, so y'all gonna have to wait. Yeah, Atlanta for me, sometimes I share some of my story in Atlanta because it was just a real hard time for me. It changed the trajectory of my life, and somebody who did not bring bring like any kind of no value to my life. Yesterday I was talking to a group of people, and we were talking about relationships and when they're over, and the value that what did that person teach you, and then did they bring anything into your life that was valuable, that made you better when they left. And everybody was talking. It was like this guy from Eritrea, a biracial girl, and a Latin girl, and we was all sitting there talking, and we were talking about relationships, because we were like, what does the person bring to your life? Because the biracial girl, black white girl, she had just been proposed to, and about probably, I want to say about 3 months ago. And then one day I saw her at work. I think I mentioned to you guys, she didn't have a ring on. And I was like, what happened? She was like, girl, no. And she's like 25 years old. So I was like, me and the other girl, the Latin girl, she's a Virgo too. And I was like, man, I used my 20s for what they were good for. And she was like, man, I wish I would have done that too. But she ended up not declining the proposal, giving the ring back, and breaking up with the guy. And yesterday she told me the story as to why. But I'm gonna tell you the story about the last names when we get back. Let me change my oil, girl. Let me put some gas in my car, girl. So hold on, I'll be right back. All right. So, did I left my lights on while I was... Okay, so what do you want me to tell y'all first? The last name story? Let's talk about the last name story. And then we'll talk about I'll talk about people bringing value to your life. Because it kind of draws into the last name thing. Because I have grown, and I'm telling y'all, I had a past life reading earlier this year. In my past life reading, the woman told me I was on my 4th life, right? And the lady didn't know anything about me. She came as a referral. She didn't know nothing about me. And I always like to validate people, especially healers and readers and stuff like that, because a lot of the time people are skeptical and they don't believe. So the lady didn't know nothing about the diva. You understand? And we were talking. She was telling me I was on my 4th life. She was telling me that crazy part kind of ties into what we was talking about yesterday. She told me that she said my mother has rejected her. She said my mother rejected her true calling of being a healer and her traditional religion, and there is a battle between her, the religion, the organized religion, and her traditional religions. Now, these are in my past lives, and it was ironic because I think a lot of the breakdown in the relationship with my mom was right after she got saved, and I was, like I said, I was a young girl, a kid, and she said, you have 2 boys with you in every life, 2 boys. And I used to go through, when I would feel blue or down or depressed or feel, regret and overthinking about my life and stuff like that, and the regrets that I had, regrets and the choices that I made, especially when it came to my son's father. And she was, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my life has changed. I didn't go to Atlanta to meet anyone. I didn't go to Atlanta to have 2 kids. I did not do that. I went to Atlanta to buy a home, which I did. And I also went to start a business. And I didn't quite start the business, even though I did go into multi-level marketing with the girl that I was telling you guys about a few weeks ago, the friend that I had since I was 15 years old, who ended up backbiting and, reveling in my misery and then sharing my trials and tribulations with people I didn't know. And I started a business with her, but that allowed me to see who she was, and ultimately dissolved our friendship. Anyways, so that was, those were my goals when I moved there. So often, and not anymore, often I used to think, oh my God, I made these mistakes and I regret these mistakes. But when the woman told me that I had in my past lives that I had 2 boys with me, two children, and they were 2 boys with me, and I have 2 sons, and and I told her, and like after she told me, after, you know, I let them talk, and then after a while I confirm. I like to confirm. I like to confirm, you know, readers, so they know that they're giving the right messages. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the way that you validate them, right? And I said, I said to her later, you know, I have 2 sons now. And then that just made me realize, like, no matter what or who that person that fathered the children, you were going to have 2 sons anyway. It didn't matter what your plan was. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. Let me get the fuck over. Y'all fucking playing with me. And so I was like, you on your phone, bitch? The fuck is wrong with you? Fucking out here going over lanes and shit. I'm not trying to be inconvenienced this morning. It's Friday, honey. So anyway, so what happened? So where was I? So she told me I had 2 boys. So when I started to think about it and look and reflect and process the reading, I was like, you know, I would have had these sons anyway. And a lot of the regret comes from the person that I chose to have the children with, because at the base and at the foundation of it, I felt like he did not deserve to have children bear his last name. And I get to the last name with Eva and Kevin McCall and her Sterling guy. And then I was watching Rodney last night, and he was like, he has his mother's last name. And his mother was not playing no games. He has his mother's last name, and his siblings have their mother's last name. And when I think about this, the way that we treat men in society, automatically assuming that they carry the last name of the children coming out, and that's typically in a marriage. So if you're not married and you haven't taken on the person's last name, why are you giving the children the father's last name? What for what? They're not, I don't know. So I rationalize it like that. So I said that all to say is, though I had the boys, I changed the boys' last name. Their last name, because remember I told you yesterday that the boy's father, he says he's a Muslim. And what's weird is that his other son, he has a son from a previous relationship or marriage or whatever, and he wanted to have the last name Ali, which a lot of Muslims people who revert or start practicing Islam, they change their last name to an Arabic last name. And so he was saying, he's telling everybody that his last name is Ali. And so he wants his children's last name to be Ali. But he has not gone to the courthouse to change his last name. So in the fog that I was in, I originally gave my sons the last name Ali. And I'm like, okay, so when are you going to change your last name? I don't think to this day, my son is 12 years old. His other son, I think, is 16 or 17 years old. I don't think the nigga has changed his last name. So to me, I'm thinking about lineage. I'm thinking about family. I'm like, okay, so if I have a last name and you have a last name and these boys have a different last name than both of us, what the fuck? What kind of, when it comes time to, trace lineage and things like that, I mean, you can do it, but what does that look like, your children having like that? And then that's when I realized this nigga is crazy. Like, the shit is crazy. When I was talking about the other day how I went through so much with that relationship, and that people don't believe me, but it was a lot of fuck shit that I like compromised, and for nothing, because the person wasn't bringing value to my life, did not bring value to my life. And I feel like you don't deserve the children that come from you. If you ain't shit, If you ain't bringing value to nobody's life, not even your own life, you don't deserve to have a legacy. You just don't deserve it. I don't care. You don't deserve it. That's how I really, truly feel. And that's how I feel with Eva. Like, change that baby's last name if you want to. If the nigga is a deadbeat, he don't deserve nothing. Biologically, yeah, that's your father, but this man is your dad, all right? And you're going to have the last name as your other sibling. She's about to have another baby, right? So how that look, the baby in the house with different last name, for optics, people want everybody to have the last name. I know my mother never changed her last name when her and my father got a divorce, because I guess she just didn't want. Some mothers say they don't want their children to have a different last name than them. Bitch, then change your fucking last name back to your maiden name and fucking, whatever. So the boys had a different last name on their birth certificate. And I was like, look, are you going to change your last name or not? Just like, when I think about that relationship, I'm just like, ugh, I feel like it gives me, it really gives me, I feel like throwing up. It really gives me, I really have that reaction. Oh my God. I need to unzip that. Y'all feel like throwing up. That's how, like, y'all don't understand the shit. I'm telling you. I really felt like just throwing up right then. So when I said, okay, you gonna change your last name, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna change my last name. I don't know if he's changed his last name since or whatever. So I start the process of changing my son's last name to my last name. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe we can hyphenate it with Ali, with my last name and your fake last name. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, no, we're not doing that. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should give my sons my last name as their middle name, right? And not really hyphenate it, but give it as their middle name. And I was like, no, I'm going to hyphenate their last name. I filled out the paperwork, put it in the paper, did everything, went down to the courthouse and this and that. And he started to protest. He couldn't even come up to the courthouse by himself. He had to come with somebody, I guess, to help him. I don't know, to pump him. I don't know. That shit was fucking weird. And I was like, okay, so are you gonna change your last name? Yeah, we'll change my last name. I'm like, no, you're not, I'm not doing this. So I changed the boys. I hyphenated my last name with his government last name. And that's how their last name is today. And then I thought to myself, God damn it, Erica, you was not married to this man. You was nothing. He don't even deserve. Why is it necessary for the children to have the man's last name? It's not necessary. That's some society bullshit. Some other shit that we fell in line with and feel like we need to abide by, because it don't matter. A paternity is a paternity. We could do a blood test to see you the motherfucking father. They don't need your fucking last name. That's how the fuck I feel about it. So with Eva changing her baby's last name to the last name, she should change it to her last name, but she want to change the baby's last name to the nigga's last name who she's married to and who she has kids with. Because the whole thing comes of people changing their last name from adoption. Like, I'm adopting you, I'm saying that I'm your parent and this and that, so I'm changing last name. If you could do it with an adopted parent, goddamn it, you could do it with fucking anybody. It doesn't matter, does it? Right? It don't matter. Baby, I changed their last name, went to the courthouse, they granted me the last names and everything, got their birth certificates changed and everything. I don't fucking play that shit. And I thought to myself, goddamn it, you don't deserve no goddamn legacy. And I know people who fuck with him watch this goddamn channel. You can let him hear it so that he can listen and say and hear what the fuck I gotta say, because honey, I don't give a fuck. I got no fucks to give when it comes to that. I don't care. I used to be ashamed to tell the stories of that I went through with that person, because I felt that I was smarter than that, and I felt I was hustled into a relationship. I felt I was duped, bamboozled. I really do, because the person, if I had been at home, I really felt like that person would not have been allowed access to me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And it was just an awful situation. And it just reminded me, like, girl, change that last name. Change the last name to whatever the fuck you want to change it. Fuck that nigga. Straight up. Straight the fuck up. Fuck him. He don't deserve a legacy. These niggas that y'all be having babies with, hello, they don't deserve no legacy. They don't even deserve the children that they bear, honey. They don't. They don't. And then it's like, I want my children. These are my children and my children. Are they? Are they your children? Are they? You had the blood runs through you, but are they your children though? I'm just saying. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you putting into them of value? What are you teaching them? What are you giving them? What nuggets are you dropping? What gems are you dropping? Which brings me to the other conversation that before we was at the gas station. So we was all sitting around talking about relationships because the guy, it was three women and one male. And he was talking about, he's from Eritrea. So, he's talking about the relationship that he's in and how, you know, he really does not want to be in the relationship anymore. He has children with her, and the relationship was happenstance because they were hanging out with each other, doing business together, and then wound up in a romantic relationship. And now they have 3 kids together, three kids, I think. Yeah, 3 children together, 3 girls. And he really does not want to be in the relationship, but he's from that community. He's like, I don't want to leave her with children, but I don't want to be with her, and I just don't want to be with her. And he's really conflicted. And we were talking about, you know, going out, and I told him now is the time to kind of to think about during Mercury retrograde is to think about the relationship. And I told him to go outside. He's also a herbalist, I understand. And I told him, go outside, sit down in nature, no electronics, no phone, no nothing, and sit down and first ask your ancestors to help you, like, and to guide you and to say, you know, what should I do? I said, because the answer might be to stay in the home for however long in order to make sure everybody is straight, and then you could go live your life, you know? And he's just like, I just don't want to be with her, and I don't want my daughters to see the relationship in the way that it is. And I admire that for somebody to actually be able to say, like, look, I love my children. I don't want to be with you, and I don't want to stay with you for the children, but I need to be happy, and my daughters deserve to see me happy. And you know, when I first met him, he just really once again just unloaded all of his situation, and then he even at one point said, I don't even know why I'm telling you all this. I don't even know you. Like, and so, but now him and I are cool, and he talks to me about, you know, his situation and stuff like that. And I just give him advice to, you know, I never tell anybody to leave anybody unless the relationship is abusive. And I really don't like to tell people leave that person, you know, because they'll come around to you and be like, you told me to leave my man, you told me to leave my bitch, or whatever the fuck. And now they looking at you crazy. So I'm like, you know, make the decision for yourself, but ask your ancestors for guidance. You know, he's very much into community and stuff like that. And I said, just talk to your ancestors, sit in nature, smoke some herb, sit down and listen. After you ask, you got to listen. A lot of people do a lot of praying and talking to their ancestors and praying to God and asking the universe for things, but nobody sits down and listens. Just listen. And when you listen, you'll hear the answer. And that's the answer coming from you, like from the inside, like this is what you have to do. And he was like, yeah, because, you know, I don't feel like the relationship has any value. And I'm like, well, y'all have 3 kids. That's the value. That's the value of that came out of the relationship. I probably should think like that too, but and so I said, you know, just sit down in nature, think about, you know, your life and this and that, and the answer will come to you. And then after you ask your ancestors for guidance, listen for the answer, then you got to watch, because now you're going to start getting signs, numbers, signs, and looking at, you know, different things. You got to be mindful and be aware of your surroundings, so you know, okay, this is what I asked for. Now I'm watching. Now I'm listening. You got to be aware. And that's where meditation comes in. It's because it allows you to, like, stop for a second. We're very busy. All of us very busy, moving around, phones distracting us. We in the phones. We doing all of these things. And the meditation is the part. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to, but sit down and be quiet for 10 minutes, 5 minutes if you want to start off. For those of us who you know, are distracted easily, minds racing. But it's not about thinking about nothing. It's about just when you start to focus on your breathing, then your mind is not thinking about the other things because we breathe unconsciously, right? We're breathing, everybody's breathing. We don't think about it. But when we actually sit down and think about our breath and how important our breath is to our life, then we kind of start internalizing and thinking about things that we need to do and how we need to move forward in the hard decisions that we think about in our life. You got to be fucking still and shut the fuck up. That's real shit. And that's what I was telling them. And we were talking about, people bringing value to you after the relationship is over. Think about it. Think about the relationships you've had. And think about when they were over. And think about what did this person, because even if it was, everybody's relationship, good parts, bad parts. When the relationship is over, what did you learn? One, what was of value, right? And what did you learn so that you don't repeat it again? And I think sometimes we keep making the same mistakes in relationships and friendships and things like that because we don't process the relationship when it's over. We don't actually say, what did I learn? Let me write down what I learned from this relationship. Let me write down what this person taught me. Let me figure out and really think about the value that this person brought to my life. What did they bring to your life? And sometimes you realize this motherfucker didn't bring me nothing. There was good times and happy times, but when he left, did he leave me better than I was? Did she leave me better than I was? Did she leave me with some knowledge that I didn't have? What did she teach me? What did he teach me? You understand what I'm saying? And so when we were talking about that, the girl chimed in and I was like, you never did tell me what happened. Oh, no, there was another girl two Latin girls in the class. Other girl, she's a Leo, but she had left and we continued the conversation. But she was saying how she's been with her husband 11 years. She was like, oh, Erica, you haven't heard the latest. And because, I'm not in their department, but I help their department. And when I sit down, they end up, talking to me. She was like, girl, her husband, he's a wrestler. They've been married for 11 years. She's found out that he's trying to court another woman who is a wrestler, and she wasn't sure, but when she went to ask the woman, she was like, Jamie, oh my God, I didn't even know how to come and tell you because it's not something that I wanted, but he keeps trying to push up on me and I didn't know how to tell you because they all work. They're wrestlers and she's a wrestler too. Not the girl, not the Leo. But she was telling me that the girl is a wrestler. And she was like, when I just straight up asked her, she straight up told me, yeah, he's trying to talk to me. And she showed her the messages. And he's a big liar. He's an alcoholic, this and that. And she was like, Erica, I'm about to move. I'm just moving on. I started working on myself. I'm tired of being, sticking up for him, stroking his ego, making him feel good about himself. And this is the second time that he's cheated on me. And in the relationship in 11 years, she said, and I took him back the first time. She said, but this time I'm not taking him back. And she said, what was I saying? So she said, it's been 11 years. It's the second time she's cheated on him. He's cheated on her. And she says, I said, are you going to get a divorce? She says, not right now. I'm trying to get my shit together because it's not as easy. It's not easy. It's 11 years. You just can't tell the nigga to, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? You can, but they got kids together and an adopted daughter as well. So she's like, I need to make sure that everything is straight before I bounce. But I ain't telling him nothing. And I told her, don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And she was like, oh my God, I've never heard that. But for real, I'm moving in silence. I said, that's what you need to do. She said she's getting herself together, stacking her money and everything. And she's going to leave. And she's going to leave him, but not leave like up and leave. She's going to be like, okay, now it's time for you to go. But she's going to make sure that everything is straight. And when she said that, that's when the dude chimed in. He said, I'm doing the same thing. And he's an herbalist, right? And so he keeps telling her, I can teach you. Telling his girlfriend, because I don't think they're married. Telling his girlfriend, I could teach you how to grow herb. And I could teach you, and it could be very lucrative for you, And he was telling me, he was like, I'm gonna help you, because he said he's going to help me get my cultivator's license. So instead of growing 6 plants, we can grow 33 plants out here in California. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But he was like, I keep telling her, you let me teach you how to do this. And she keeps saying, well, if you're here, I don't need to know, which is so stupid for a woman to say that. But he's like, she doesn't know that I'm leaving. I was like, you need to tell her. He was like, but I'm not ready to leave. I need to be ready. I need to have everything ready. I need to make sure my daughters are straight. I need to make sure I got everything set up, because I just don't want to up and leave. But if I tell her these are my plans, she's going to make me leave. So I need to get everything together, which I think is kind of smart or whatever. And, he's North African and she's Laos. So, yeah, she's Asian girl. So she, has a large family, and he was talking about how her family is like slick racist, and they really stick together. And I was like, he's like, Erica, it wasn't the plan, but we just ended up together, and she's not somebody that I want to be with. And we were just talking about, the value in the relationship. He's like, no, she's not bringing value to my life. I have daughters with her, but she don't even want to learn how to do this business. She just got a job. I've been holding our relationship down, been the breadwinner for all these years. She just got a job in the last 2 years of them being together, and they've been together for 7 years. I want to say, he said 7. Did he say 7? 7 or 6? I don't know. Don't give me the line. But he said just in the last year she's gotten a job, because I remember when he first started working, he actually came. I don't even want to tell that man's business, but anyways, so he was like, she's not bringing value to my life. I'm trying to teach her this business so that we can be growers and we can make a lot of money, and she's just not like, you know how to do it, so I don't have to learn how to do it. And that's like not cool. And the other girl was like, yeah, the guy that I broke up with, I broke off the engagement because I called him 2 times when I needed him and he was not available. And if I'm about to marry you, I need to be able to depend on you. I was like, come on, girl. She's 25 years old. And I was like, that's very smart. So she was Gemini. Very smart of you. She's like, and I realized the other night that I go from relationship to relationship to relationship, and I need to just focus on me. She's 25 years old. The other woman whose husband is the wrestler, she said that this is her second marriage, and she's about to be 40. And she was like, and this is the decade. I'm about to be 40 next August. She said, it's just going to be about me. I can't be worried about no man. It's a Latin girl, and the other girl's biracial. She's like, I can't be worried about no man. I don't want to worry about a man. And she said, and part of the thing that I don't want to worry about is constantly stroking a man's ego, making him feel good about himself, making him, and I think part of that last name thing is an ego stroke for men. I really believe that, especially if a man is not taking care of his children and you still want your children to bear your last name and you're not taking care of them. That's just an ego stroke. I got my last name too. No. And so I don't think that Eva, if Eva wants to change the baby's last name, change the last name. What do y'all think? I know I said a whole bunch of different shit, but all of that kind of ties into everything. People, I don't know. I don't think that it's cool. I don't think that it's cool for him to be like, if you're not taking care of the kid, what do you need why? What is the purpose? What legacy are you leaving? Because typically people like to, bear the last name because there's some kind of legacy. There's a tribe. There's a coat of arms. There's something going on. But if you are an ain't shit nigga and you ain't taking care of your kids and you ain't offering no value to no one's life, not even your own, you don't deserve your last name to go on to anybody. You just don't. You don't deserve it. And I truly feel like that. And maybe I have a cold heart in that way, and we're all on our spiritual journey. But today, fuck it. If she wants to change that baby's last name to her husband's last name, she's taking care of the baby. She needs to be able to make the decisions. And if the little girl gets to an age where she's like, I want my last name to be my biological father's last name, then she can change her last name. But for now, this is the last name you're going to have. Because at the end of the day, you could change your last name to whatever the fuck you want to change it to. Really. Go down to the goddamn courthouse. I could change my last name to anything I want to change it to. Go down to the courthouse. Tell them why you want to change your name. Put the shit in the paper to make the announcement. After 30 days, boom. Change your birth certificate. Change everything you want to do. Whatever you want to do. And guess what? I've told my sons I changed their last name. Ain't no goddamn secrets here. I told them what their last name was. I have the original birth certificate. So I have both of their birth certificates. One with the last name that I gave them at birth, and then the other one when I changed their name before I fucking left Atlanta. I wasn't having that shit. I just wasn't gonna do it. What's happening? Oh, I was like, why is that traffic backed up? But it's a bunch of turkeys crossing the street. And these turkeys are out here. I wonder what, come on, aren't they about to fly south for the winter? Y'all better get the fuck out of here. It's November. Anyways, y'all, I hope we had a good talk. I know we didn't talk about anything. Y'all have a wonderful Friday. Take care of each other, protect your energy, and keep each other honest. Peace.